Hey everyone, I've got a new tutorial to share with you today. We're going to replace this default Mac icon with our own custom icon in Illustrator. Before we get into that though, I just want to note real quick that our YouTube channel is called redstudios.com, and that's been updated and changed. We are now RedWorks. So please check out my blog. You can also view my portfolio and also view all the other tutorials that we've done at redworks.com. That's r3dworks.com. Alright, so let's get started. The first thing you want to do is open up Illustrator. Here we go. And I'm going to create a new document. And you're going to want it to be set at 128 pixels by 128 pixels. And make sure that your color mode is set to RGB. That's because we're dealing with screen colors and not print. Click OK. And there we go. The next thing you want to do is enable your rulers. And then take the layer 1 and call that guides. We're going to set up some basic guides here real quick. All the way around, just to keep the formatting good on our image that we're working on here. Okay, then go ahead and start a new layer. We're going to call this File Icon. Click OK. Go ahead and lock your guides layer as well, just so you don't end up moving them around or deleting them by accident or anything like that. And make sure that you're working on the layer called File Icon now, and go to your rectangle tool. And you'll want to also set that for a solid fill with no stroke. I'm going to use black for myself, just because it stands out nice and good against the screen. That's pretty good file size, or excuse me, rectangle size. I'm going to also make a rounded rectangle here, just to make that little tab for the back of the folder. There we go, and I'm going to move that down just a little bit. I'm going to go back to that original rectangle. Here, I'll open this up so you can see that I have my original rectangle that I just made here. And I'm going to copy that, so Command C and Command F. And I'm going to turn that duplicate copy off by clicking on the eyeball there. Next, I'm going to go Apple A to select everything. I'm going to go to my Pathfinder palette here, and I'm going to add to shape area, and that's going to combine that rounded rectangle with the regular rectangle, which is the back of the folder icon I'm making right now. So go ahead and just click on that, and then click Expand, and you can see that the wireframing changed, and now they're both combined into one path. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is select that other rectangle and turn it back on so I can see it, and I'm going to move it in front, and I'm going to reset the fill for that, a white fill. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to go to my direct selection tool, and I'm going to click on just the nodes of that shape and hold down my shift key. That way I select just the top two, and you can see that they're solid rather than clear. That way I know I got them selected, and I'm going to drag them off to the right just a little bit. Something like about like that will work. Should have selected both of them, huh? There we go. That'll work. I thought I had this one selected and I didn't, unfortunately, but you can do that. And I'm going to move it over just a little bit so it offsets. And I'm also going to scale it down a little bit, that way we can see the back of the folder. Okay. Now I'm also going to make another copy of this by going Command C and Command F again and bringing in front and resizing it just a little bit this time, a little bit less than the last one. And I'm going to reset again the fill to black with no stroke, just for now. All right. move this back over. And there we go. So basically I'm setting this up so I have one rectangle for the front part of the folder, and then a little piece of paper basically in the middle, and then the back of the folder for my folder icon. And I want this to overlay just a little bit more than it is right now. So I'm going to go like that. Move this over just a little bit as well. So it creates, if I look at it in the wireframe here, so it creates a little bit of an overlap. There we go. Between the back of the folder, the page, and the front of the folder here. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is style this and give it a gradient so it has a little bit of color and looks nice. So I'm going to work on the front of the folder first. So I'm going to select that, go to my gradient here, and click on that, and just set up a basic gradient. And I'm going to add some color to it. So I'm going to add this dark purplish reddish color and a bit of a middle tone here, and then something a bit lighter. All right, and I'm going to go to my gradient tool now. Excuse me, I'm a little hoarse today. And set the gradient up on an angle. That looks pretty nice. And then I'm going to click on the back part of my folder here, the one with the rounded selection tool, and go to my eyedropper and apply that gradient to the back part of it. The next thing I'm going to want to do probably here is I'm going to want to make it pop a little bit more, so I'm going to set a stroke for it, and I'm going to use this dark purplish color again and go to my stroke, and it's a little thicker than I want, so I'm going to set that down to about 0.75, and I'll go ahead and do the same thing to the front as well. And I'm going to resize this again just a little bit. Never quite happy with that kind of stuff. And I'm also going to apply a stroke to this, again, just to kind of separate it from that gradient in the back. And this one I'm going to set down to 0.5. Okay, so we have the basics in place for our folder icon. I'm going to resize this just a little bit here. So I'm going to go Command A, and just bring it inside my guides basically, and hold down my Shift key and size this back down just a little bit. All right. Maybe move that up just a little bit as well while I'm at it. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of extra styling to it. Now I've already made this kind of repeated metallic kind of pattern. So I'm going to grab that, Command C, and go back to my folder that I'm working on here, and Command B. And it's pretty big, so I'm going to size it down just a little bit here. And this is the great thing about working in vector, is it's completely scalable stuff without losing any of its quality. Scale it down just a little bit. Move it in place here. I'll scale it back up a little bit apparently. Okay, there we go. Just a little bit more. Scale it back up just a wee bit more. Okay, there we go. And I've got this group right here. That's that metallic pattern. So I've got that in front. I've got the front of my folder, the white piece of paper for the middle, and the back with the tab. And now what I'm going to do is create a clipping path. And what that'll do is that'll subtract out this metallic area to the same size as that front part of the folder, just to give it a little bit more styling, like I said. So I'm going to select that, even though I can't see it. Luckily I can see it in my layers palette. I'm going to select that. And again, I'm going to go Command C and Command F to make another copy of it in front. I'm going to place it on top of everything and make sure that I have that selected and that metallic pattern. By holding down Shift, I'm going to select them both. And I'm going to do Command 7, which is the short command to make a clipping path.